Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about, well, what do you do if you are on finasteride but still experiencing hair loss? How do you tackle that? Stick around.
Welcome to the Hair Loss Show, where Dr. Russell Knudsen and Dr. Vikram Jayaprakash discuss issues relating to hair loss and the medical and surgical treatment of hair loss in both men and women.
Okay, so we've talked a lot on the channel about various different therapies, and if you look at sort of medical therapy for hair loss, no conversation is complete without discussing finasteride. Finasteride is probably the low-hanging fruit and one of the big staples of any sort of medical therapy in terms of managing androgenic alopecia. But one of the things that you might find is that you are experiencing hair loss, you see someone that helps you diagnose that, and they recommend starting on a particular dose of finasteride. You start on that, you've been consistent with that for a period of time, certainly over 6 months, but then you still notice that you're still experiencing hair loss. What do you do? What's the goal? How do we handle that? And that's a question I get asked all the time, and it's certainly a question that gets asked on the channel as well. And the reality is that, we have to manage everything on a case-by-case basis. And the fundamental question when I look at someone who gives me that sort of story is, well, what is the progression of the hair loss? How do we chart that? And what has happened? What I mean by that is that the actual fact of things is that we do not have the cure for hair loss. If we have, you'd all know about it. All right. So even finasteride, while we say is one of the best things out there to help manage androgenic alopecia, it is by no means the absolute cure. We do not have the absolute cure. And so finasteride at best is able to slow down the process, but we still got good data to show that even those with great stability over time, they slowly leak more hair. So the fundamental question to ask is, right, okay, well, if you as an individual has started on finasteride, have you lost hair at the same rate that you had before you were on finasteride, or has it slowed down? Because if it's slowed down, it doesn't mean a complete failure of treatment. Finasteride has been able to do what it's sort of aiming to do, which is slowing down the process. That may not be sufficient to your requirements, but it may be that that's a starting point. And then we can look at other options from there. Does the dose of the finasteride need to change? Do we need to increase the dose, increase the frequency of how you're taking it? Do we need to add another agent into the mix? Do we need to add an agent that's similar in nature, such as dutasteride? Or do we add another agent that has another mechanism of action, such as minoxidil? How do we give that? What are the ways that we're giving that? And the other question also to answer is, well, is it been taken properly? Is the absorption adequate? Is the gut adequate enough to be able to absorb it? Should we use another method of delivery, such as topical or mesotherapy? These are all questions that need to be answered, and that's what happens when people come in for a consultation. We're able to look at that and unpack that. So if you're looking at finasteride as a singular therapy and it's not been as effective as you want, we actually have to quantify that and say, has there been a change? Because if there has, doesn't mean that the finasteride has been a complete failure. It just means that we may need to modify things. I hope you found that useful. Thanks again for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.